one that got away. The Denver Nuggets lose a game that they had all the momentum at the top of the fourth quarter. The Nuggets went crazy after scoring 8 points in the first quarter. They just absolutely turn on the afterburners and they go forward. And all of a sudden, the Denver Nuggets, they have a lead up 6 going into the fourth, but they're not able to sustain the momentum. Man, honestly, this is a game that the Nuggets will be kicking themselves over, given how well they played for most of this game from the second quarter to the third quarter. And then really, they had an opportunity to close the door. Jokic came back into the game up 1, but OKC, the OKC Thunder, they put in Wiggins, Caruso and Wallace, and Caruso. And the three of them combined to shoot so well from the three-point line. Caruso and Wallace goes 3 of 3. Aaron Wiggins goes 3 of 6, and then Caruso goes 2 of 5. Those 8 three-pointers end up absolutely flipping the script of this game. And without those three-pointers, you're not going to get anything out of the OKC offense. And Lou Dort went 2 of 10 from 3 today. The Nuggets were baiting him into taking those three-point shots. But ultimately, there are, I would say, 3 things that really cost the Nuggets the game. Jokic's shot making, well, Jamal Murray and Jokic's shot making left them today. Jokic was 7 of 22 after being 8 of 25 last game, just not able to convert enough of those looks. He gets 13 rebounds today, gets 4 steals, 3 assists. The defense wasn't a problem at all. I thought he was really engaged, really good hands. But for whatever reason, especially from the three-point line, Jokic is 2 of 8 from 3 after going 0 of 11 from the three-point line in the last game. The biggest turn of events in this game is going to have to be Jokic getting back to his relatively normal self with his over-the-top shot making in Game 5. That's really going to have to be one of the solves beyond anything else. I think the fact that OKC, they're packing the paint on every possession. They're putting as many bodies on Jokic, whether it's show coverage behind, making sure that he's not going to get free driving lanes consistently. But Ihart and Chet, they're working extremely hard. But the thing that's actually changed in the series today, it's over-the-top shot making. The last 3 games, it hasn't been there, and especially the last 2 games. And especially for somebody of Jokic's caliber, you have to be able to find ways to convert shots and score. And if you look at Jokic over the last 3 games, he's shooting 33% from the field and 18% from the three-point line. And in this game in particular, he makes 11 of 14 from the free throw line, but especially the last 2. The last 2 would have put the Nuggets down 2, but then he just, after a Mark Daigneault goes for a challenge that gets overturned, Jokic smokes both of them. And then on top of that, I think down the stretch of the game, Jamal Murray and Jokic were not able to get in their 2-man game as easy as they need to. And again, you know, Jokic, he has today, ends the game with 27 points, 13 rebounds, 3 assists, and 4 steals. So again, box score numbers, again, defensively, I think it was fine. But in order for the Nuggets to win Game 5, that 7 of 22 needs to be around 14 for 22. And again, a lot of this, he could have had even more shots that were either could have been missed or made, but he went to the free throw line on a lot of possessions just because OKC, they have been trying to be as physical as possible with him, and it's disrupted the over-the-top shot making over the stretch of this series so far. And then with Jamal Murray, who came off a great Game 3, he has 17 points, 5 assists today, also has 4 turnovers. Him and AG lead the Denver Nuggets with 4 turnovers apiece today. But Aaron Gordon, 5 of 10 from the field. He was 3 of 7 from the three-point line. He had 15 points and 16 rebounds and 6 assists today. AG was fighting, and I honestly think that AG played good enough for them to get a victory today. Michael Porter Jr. had 15 points. He had 9 rebounds, but he was 0 of 5 from the three-point line today. They just didn't get a lot out of a lot of folks today. And I think when you have Russell Westbrook, who I think was good for really, especially defensively and stretches, but they were a minus 20 in the Russ minutes. You know, Russ wasn't making his shots today, and so OKC wanted their three-point barrage in particular. And then at the top of the second quarter, they just didn't have their usual run of success either. But again, that's really like a combination of many different things. Look, Jokic is 7 of 22. Jamal Murray's 5 of 15. Russ is 2 of 12. Michael Porter Jr. is 1 of 7. And some of that is as simple as if the Denver Nuggets get a better shooting game out of Jokic, if they get a better shooting game out of Murray, if they get more points off their bench, then it could have been a different story. Like the Nuggets, they got 8 points off their bench, and the two bench players that really took shots in this game were Russell Westbrook and Peyton Watson, and they were combined 3 for 15 in this game. And then you juxtapose that, Alex Caruso, Aaron Wiggins, Caruso and Wallace, they had between them 3 of 7, 4 of 8, 4 of 7. And like I said, primary 3-point shots. And those stretches is what kind of put them over the top in this game. But some of this is just going to come down to this. The Nuggets, I think the rest thing hit them like a brick, and it hit OKC like a brick, because that first quarter was the lowest scoring game, tied for the lowest scoring playoff first quarter ever. And it cost them because they got down so much. It was 21-8, I believe, at the end of the first quarter, and they had to fight to get back in the game, which they did. But the Nuggets just looked like a team that was just, they didn't have anything in their bag. The Nuggets and OKC were 6 of 44. They were 6 of 44 from the three-point line in the first half. It was a horrible shooting day. J-Dub was 2 of 13 today after having a great last game. Lou Dort was 2 of 10. Shea was 8 of 19. And then they had, like I said, off the bench, everybody shot well for the most part. And then you even look at Chet Holmgren, like I said, 4 of 10. I'd say Hartenstein were 3 of 7. It was just a pure dogfight. Both teams, they had to come up creative ways to win. And the thing that won the OKC Thunder the game today was their bench. Getting more production off their bench and that three-point shooting, because the Nuggets primarily ran zone most of this game. And the reason they did it is last game, the man-to-man really saved them, like kind of a box and one versus SGA. But in this game in particular, they ran a 2-3 zone for most of the game, and it worked. Like they held OKC to a bad shooting performance because they tried to do everything they could to keep them out of the paint. OKC had a 94.8 offensive rating. The Nuggets had an 88.8 offensive rating. But here we go. At the rim today, Denver was just 4 of 7. Didn't get a lot of shots at the rim. OKC, they were 8 of 9 or 8 of 10. OKC shot 8 of 23 from the short mid-range area. Denver shot 6 of 18. And then on the three-point shot, Denver made one more three-pointer. They were 11 of 44. OKC was 10 of 40. In the half court, the Nuggets had better offense today. The Nuggets had an 81.9 offense rating in the half court, and they gave up a 75.6. So, like I said, the zone worked. Most of the game, it worked out really well. But once the Nuggets got outworked in certain parts of the game, and especially one thing that ended up costing them a game is the long rebounds again. OKC, 15 offensive rebounds. The Nuggets, 12 offensive rebounds. Those long rebounds for OKC, especially I-Hart had 5 of them, and Chet had 2 of them. Those extra possessions helped them to be able to put some shots up that ended up converting for them. They hit in the game total today, they hit 6 more shots than Denver. Denver shot 31%. They shot 35%. Now, both of the teams went to the free throw line. The Nuggets were 26 of 36. Again, Aaron Gordon and Nikola Jokic, they missed 3 free throws in the clutch of the game, this game, that would have made it a 2-point game. Again, it's focus stuff. 64 rebounds for Denver, 63 for OKC, all the way across the board. All the way across the board. They're going to have to find ways to play better. And it starts with the top. It starts with Jokic. You know, I think when I'm watching this game, Jokic is getting good process. Like the Nuggets are getting good offense. But what's not happening is Jokic isn't making the most advantageous decision. And I think he's a little concerned, overly concerned with what's happening and the amount of contact that he's probably going to get on each play. You're going to get hit. But on your middies, they were short today. And on your 3-ball, like a lot of them are really good looks. I mean, Jokic had his foot on the line on one, so he was technically 3 of 9 from long jumpers today. But even still, it's just like if he's going to struggle on the inside because he's having difficulty scoring on OKC's front line, or even just to the fact that like they're not giving him his floater because of the way they're guarding him. So he's having to face a lot more one-on-one coverage. Well, it's not one-on-one. OKC is doing multiple things. They're sitting help weak side underneath the basket at Jokic and then cutting off the passing lanes to the middle or to the corner, or they're loading up from top side. And Christian Brown hit a 3 off that today. Jamal Murray had some opportunities off that today. and they're trying to contest as much as possible anything that's happening at the baseline. And then if he does get baseline, Chet's roaming over. And then if he goes front line, then you got SGA or whoever at that drop, like in the drop area. And then that way you have another defender in his face. And then you got Hart playing up on him as well, or Jay Will. Like across the board, I think Jokic is just going to have to find a way to hit his shots. It's that simple. And I think it's going to start with the over-the-top shot making. Jamal Murray needs to have a better game. Like, if the Nuggets get a good performance from Murray and Jokic, like instead of going 12 of 37, they go 19 of 37. Shoot, they go 16, 17 of 37. Then the Nuggets win the game. And especially given the fact that today you got a bad performance from J-Dub. But again, the Nuggets, you got down in the hole offensively. You had 8 points in the first half, in the first quarter. 8 of them. They scored 79 points in the rest of the 3 quarters. So they should have been able to put it away, but they didn't. There were some questionable things today. Jokic had, let's see here. He had 4 personal fouls. The first 2 were really ticky-tack. Jokic got an and one that wasn't called with iHeart, where he jammed his shoulder into him on a Jokic jumper, and then he should have went to the free throw line. So again, there were times and moments, I think, where the Nuggets could have taken control of the game even more. Like in that third quarter, they held OKC to 21 points. They were shooting the lights out of the ball. Finally, they were running. They were getting defensive stops. The Nuggets were up 6. But then, like I said, that zone, no SGA in the game. J-Dub was more willing to get off the ball to find shooters, and they just kept finding open shooters. And they hit their shots at the top of the fourth, became a 1-point deficit, and then the game kind of flipped from there. But overall, the Nuggets should have won the game. It's really that simple. I think he should have won. They should have won the game today. And I think if your 2 best players, that they step up and do their job, then I think they win this game. And then now it's a 3-1. It's a 3-1 series as opposed to a 2-2 series. But everything's in front of them. Yeah, I talked about this, DM. 38 bench points, 8 bench points. I mean, but that's Denver, though. Like, Russ didn't have it going. He was 2 of 12. But outside of Russ, Peyton's not a scorer. Julian's not going to get a lot of minutes. Quite simply. Traquan, Jokic plays no defense, bro. I mean, I don't know what to tell you, bro, if that's what your takeaway is. Their defense was great. Their half-court defense was especially really good. It's just their offense and the shot making was the actual problem. So, yeah, it's going to be a dogfight, y'all. Now, here's the thing. With the Nuggets with the back against their wall in a Game 5, that's a situation that they have typically been really favorable in. I mean, the line's going to be on OKC side, but I think that we're going to be here in a place where it's going to come down to the Nuggets being able to hit those over-the-top shots, and especially for Jokic and Murray, they have to be better, both of them, despite whatever coverages Jokic is seeing. Like, they lost to Murray minutes today by 12. They won them going away in Game 3. Murray needs to be better. I think a couple of the turnovers he had were like in Russ off the bench, like 6 fouls, but he was just being aggressive. I thought his defense was great. He was attacking the ball, especially attacking when you had your back turned to him. It led to a lot of really good plays, positive plays for them. But they just lost a couple gambles. Like Jamal Murray almost got a steal between Dort and Caruso that it led to an open 3 on the other end. Michael Porter Jr. had a ball that hit his hands off a great Russ pass when they were up. That could have put Denver up 8, I believe. But he fumbled the ball from under the basket out of bounds on the sideline. Just some basic things that could have changed the overall course of the game. But the Denver Nuggets are going to be ready for Game 5. They're going to be ready for Game 5. And it's going to come down to sustaining runs. OKC is going to go on runs. I mean, the place is going to be on fire. But the Nuggets, the advantage you have is that you know what it is that you need to change. You know what it is that you need to address. And in particular, Jokic, it's quite simple. You're just going to have to make those shots and be more confident and decisive in the shots that you're taking. I mean, these are probably the 3 worst shooting Game 2, 3, and 4 are the worst shooting games I've ever seen from Jokic in a playoff stretch ever. Again, like OKC, they're making him work. They're playing a very aggressive style of defense. But the jumpers, Game 5, they have to be there and they have to work. And Jamal Murray needs to play better. Russ will play better. Porter will probably play better in this game. But Jokic and Murray, it definitely has to shift overall. But I'm excited for it. I was pacing in my place today, especially in my office. Man, I was just like, gosh, they're up 6. You got the momentum. Everything's on your side. But they just were not able to close out the deal. So we'll see. We'll see what happens come game 5. And the Nuggets, they will respond, but we're going to see if they can pull out a victory versus OKC in OKC to bring it back 3-2 Denver. See y'all on the other side.